With that, let's move over to our next session. We're talking about volatility in currencies, commodities and capital flows being unsettling. But what it also does is that it creates windows for countries that can move fast, offer scale and ensure policy predictability.
That's right. Now, before we go on to our next speaker, before we invite up on stage our next speaker, I'd just like to remind everyone the hashtag is IEC 2025. So please do share your thoughts. I'm sure you will have a lot of thoughts after this next session, because our next speaker is truly a thought leader, someone who has a large bank of experience and is highly regarded in industry as well as the full of India. All right. So, as I was saying, Ashish, now our next speaker, he serves as the Vice Chairman of Bharti Enterprises. Now, it's a company that operates across telecommunications, financial services, agriculture, and real estate, sectors deeply affected by geoeconomic shifts.
And of course, to discuss how India can benefit from geoeconomical volatility, please welcome Mr. Rajan Bharti Mittal, Vice Chairman of Bharti Enterprises, in conversation with Aisha Faridi from ET Now. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much for that, Sumit and Ashish. Well, good evening, everyone. I have someone with me who really needs no introduction. Mr. Mittal, thank you so much for your time today. And, the theme today at the India Economic Conclave is geoeconomics. And who better than you to give us light on this ever-changing world, this world of tariffs, this world of countries looking inwards. Given that you do business with, 15 countries? What's the experience like? How is it maneuvering business in today's times?
I think world is kind of in a different zone now. I have to say, every morning you get with probably a new surprise. The global.
Do you also follow him on Twitter?
Well, the global interconnected world is completely, kind of moved on its head. The multilateralism is pretty much dead, I have to say that. If you see all the, multilateral forums, there's no conversation. So it is more bilateral. And that has truly changed the way countries are working, the business leaders are working. So you have to be really careful, you have to be really watchful what is happening around the globe. Tariffs, as you have spoken about it, and I'm sure most of the political leaders must have also spoken about it. It's a new element. We've never heard that every nation comes around with their own tariffs. The WTO was supposed to manage that. It's all gone out of the window, as I would say. So we have to be now much more agile, much more nimble, much more strategic, I would say. And for that, I have to say the Indian leadership, political, economic, is doing a great job. I think we are holding our ground. Some temporary blips are there, which are bound to happen in every course of change that takes place. But I think India is holding up. As I see my company, we are in African continent, we are in South Asia, India, of course. There are certain challenges, but I believe that strategically, if India has to place itself, which it is doing, the major markets, US, EU, we have to be aligned with them. India is a large export market. Technologies is sitting there. Capital is sitting there. Research and development is sitting there. So we have to align. Trade is only one part. Services, which is away from trade. Defense, technology, financial capital. So we have to align with all these factors. Hopefully, EU and India should have the FTA. I hear the teams have been here. Hopefully, the war will end, which will bring at least 25% tariff, which was just because of that, should come down. So I think things are moving. We have to wait and watch.
No comment on India-US? Hopeful it's going to happen soon?
We should always be hopeful. It's a major trading partner. It's a major alliance that we have as we go along. And I'm hoping National interest, as you see, and as we hear from the political leadership, that is not to be compromised. And as business leaders, we will and we are aligned with the government. You cannot have national interest where small scale, agriculture, there are areas which will get affected as I hear the demands that are coming from the other side. So we have to be cognizant that we must hold our ground. National interest is paramount. Even if the businesses are hit for a short while, we shall live with that. There are ups and downs in businesses. There is the cyclical things. This is one of it. We must take it in our stride.
But, you know, Mr. Mittal, in the conversations that we've had on this platform today, the one thing that I've picked up is in terms of how businesses are dealing and navigating geoeconomics. If not US, let's partner with some other country. Let's look at what we can do in Saudi Arabia. Let's look at what we can do in Dubai. Let's look at the Far East. As an industry leader, would you say that the time has come to maybe not put all your eggs in one basket and be more of a global trade alliance partner for companies? What would your message and advice be?
My advice is it's not either or. We have to have actually relationship, partnerships, economic partnership with everybody. We have signed a FTA with UAE, with Saudi, Oman is happening, as I understand, Prime Minister is there. New Zealand, we have done it. Thailand, ASEAN, EU will happen. So I am pretty certain that we are moving as industry leaders, and the Indian industry is moving, not having all eggs in one basket. Even our exports, I saw the data that we all saw. It has actually enhanced, it's not dropped, which means really the Indian entrepreneurs are looking beyond one or two big markets. BRICS is there as our partners, so we have to expand our market. That's a given. And I think the nature of the alliances, the nature of businesses now should be to expand newer markets. Africa is a big continent. Younger population, billion people over. By 2030, 25% of the young working population will be in the African continent. India and Africa go long back, both politically, economically. There is no reason for us not to expand there. There are challenges in, let's say, LATAM. Language sometimes is a barrier, but Africa is an English speaking, it understands, and I always say, Indians are quite used to managing this kind of a little chaos. There is no different out there. So we are probably much set to do that. And there are many other countries which are to align with India. So I wouldn't say all eggs in one basket. I would say we should have diverse baskets to deal with.
But you know, as we see, the world is also moving towards and perhaps even fighting and competing for digital infrastructure, the space in which you come in and are a dominant player here in the Indian market. How do you see the world navigate through digital infrastructure where everyone's vying a piece of each other?
The DPI, in particular in India, the digital public infrastructure, I think is done extremely well. And this model can be transported definitely to countries around us, SAARC, South Asia, Africa. And of course, partnership in the global partnerships as we are doing it. India is now actually getting ready more and more for data centers. AI as is being coming in, and the computing powers are needed much even greater. We are at the stage today, my own company as well as the country, to put much more data centers with hyperscalers. As you would have seen some announcements happen with all kind of hyperscalers, from Google to Meta. So India is becoming now the hub of bringing their data centers in here. For our own digital public infrastructure and our own data, we are doing a lot. We are putting our own data centers. We are putting the national cloud, because we must keep the Indian data within Indian confines. Everybody is doing that. Around the globe, that is happening. India should be no different. So I would say, as we go along on the telecom side, infrastructure building side, we should be building more capabilities. Not only on back end, even on front end. As you see, a lot of startups are coming here. There will be startups on AI, which we are seeing that. They are mushrooming. The growth is happening. So India is very much aligned, ready for digital infrastructure.
But do you think we run a risk of perhaps creating an assembly economy as opposed to a manufacturing powerhouse when it comes to the digital ecosystem?
There are two ways to see this. Historically, India is more of a service-led industry.
Yeah.
If you see our GDP cut, more like 58 to 60% give and take, we are on the services side. Manufacturing has been 15 to 17%. We have to grow in manufacturing. It's a large country, younger population. You need to bring jobs on the factory floor. Every nation, if you will see their growth, including our neighbors, it has always started with a low cost or a model, and then it increases. Over a period of time, India has to spend a lot on the R&D. That's most essential if you have to go the value chain of manufacturing. PLI has done a great job. Government has done a great job in capacity building. We need to invest in R&D. That's a must. But that requires a partnership among government, entrepreneurs, academia, research and development institutions, and then we will go up the value chain. People talk about assembly, as you said. We are at about 20% of give and take as a value add. It's increasing. So every country, if you will see who went into manufacturing at a given point of time, started like this, but then rose with the value add. And India should be no different.
You're perhaps one of the first companies to go global when you set foot in Africa. Tell me what the world doesn't know about India or Indo-African economic relationships.
I think from the services industry point of view, maybe we were the first ones, but there have been enough relationship between the continents on manufacturing, energy, logistics. There are enough there. While we say it's an Africa continent, it's 54 countries. We have to be cognizant of that. That is some challenges. I would say when we went, you see it as one continent, which is not the case. 54 countries, different regulators, different government challenges, from democracy to kings. You would have to deal with different regulators, different currencies. So that challenge, people don't see that, and they see one headline, Africa, and then enter it. The advice that I would have is, each country has its own needs, own challenges. So one must study that. But the kind of welcome that we got as an Indian company, and that's what I've said, the relationship between the two sides are so strong, economically, politically, that one is very much welcome there. So I think India has to invest much more, government to government, business to business, in the coming times.
That brings me to Starlink. You're perhaps the one company which is currently doing business with a US company. Tell me, how does business with Starlink pan out? And did it get impacted with this tariff tirade, which is still on?
We also, Starlink is one of the service providers. I also have OneWeb, which my own company does that. So this is, the satellite is actually a complementary. It's not competing product between terrestrial and that. Especially in countries like India, with the pricing of terrestrial, and which is almost 90% digitally connected, has reached. Starlink OneWeb, Starlink, and other constellations that will come, they're more to connect the unconnected, where one doesn't reach. Maritime, defense, and industries, oil rigs, where it's very, very hard to reach. So it will be a complementary, and we've also tied up with Starlink as Airtel to serve the customer. My job at the end of the day is to serve the Indian customer which is not connected. Whatever tools we get, we should use, and that's what we'll be doing.
Have you met Elon Musk?
No, personally not.
Your team has?
He is a person who is, much not seen around, but we are connected to the teams.
Are you going to meet him in future? What's the one question you have for him when you meet him?
How does he manage to do all this, honestly? He's everywhere.
Yeah, I would ask him that as well. How does he do it all? But tell me, when I look at your industry and the kind of expansion that we're talking about, the kind of alliances companies such as yours are forming and going global, there's a cost involved to that. And that comes with a lot of capex. Now, while I know Bharti the capex, of course, is going down. But when you look at decadal opportunities, it does cost a lot of money. Does the Indian private sector has the bandwidth for that kind of spend to try and capitalize on the opportunity that India throws up? And what a nascent stage we are at of the India opportunity.
You know, I think if there are ideas behind any enterprise, there's enough capital available globally and as well as in India. I don't think so. India is now at this stage where we have restricted capital. Where would you find this kind of growth? 6.5%, 7.5%, 8% growth, $4 trillion economy, and we see the numbers that. Where will you find this growth around the globe? Europe is, I have to say, struggling. US is growing maybe 2%. China is growing 4-5%. So where are you going to deploy all your money? India has both the advantage, huge domestic market, and the potential to grow for areas beyond. We are seeing the new bills which are on the parliament on the nuclear, which is going to be huge investments are needed. Infrastructure, India is on the move, and we will need much, much more investments in the infrastructure, ports, roads, highways, airlines. So I think India has the capacity, and there's enough capital out there which is available. All we need to manage is the right costing, as you rightly asked. Those challenges remain in a lot of entrepreneurs. Right talent. Talent, I think, is today one of the biggest needs of any growth path that will come through for any country. But capital should not be an issue.
So as you look ahead 10 years from now, where would Bharti be?
I'll be 76, so I don't know where that will be. But, you know, we are looking for opportunities in our world, which is telecom predominantly. We've seen some, we placed some bet in UK. We're looking for other opportunities will come in. So we will always be looking at opportunities which throw up on telecom, on digital infrastructure. That's where Bharti will be.
Great. Looking forward to that Bharti of 10 years. And I'm sure you're going to be very much there. As fit. Great speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.